Welcome to this Saren's Tour Guide to Detroit, with content from just ahead. In the upcoming miles, we'll guide you to and through the Motor City, from the suburbs to the heart of historic downtown to the vibrant riverfront. We'll be sharing some of our favorite places, pointing out landmarks and neighborhoods as we approach, and offering suggestions on where to stop and explore. We'll also offer some notes on the history and culture of this great city. And we'll entertain you a bit too. Detroit is full of fascinations. Prepare to be delighted and surprised. What do you think about when you think about Detroit? Motor City, USA? You bet. From horseless carriages to the Model A, from muscle cars to Cadillacs, Detroit has always been the center of the automotive universe. You can visit the Henry Ford Museum, see a working assembly plant, tour the plant where the Model T was born, and see the latest from General Motors at GM World. Does Motown come to mind? Of course. Detroit is the home of the Motown sound, made famous by such legends as Smokey Robinson, Diana Ross, The Temptations, Gladys Knight and the Pips, and Stevie Wonder. You can visit the Motown Museum while you're in Detroit, where so many great hits were recorded. What about art and architecture? Remember, we said prepare to be surprised. Detroit is considered the Paris of the Midwest. It's filled with Art Deco and Italian Renaissance wonders, majestic skyscrapers, imposing factories, grand boulevards, parks, plazas, and historic theaters. And you won't want to miss the magnificent Detroit Institute of Arts. Maybe you think about sports. Major league sports are always in season here in the home of the Tigers, Lions, Pistons, and Red Wings. Or maybe you'll want to play outdoors yourself. Detroit's riverfront is filled with places to walk, jog, bike, picnic, or play in the parks alongside the beautiful Detroit River. Detroit is also a city of neighborhoods, and naturally great ethnic cuisine, from Greek to Italian, to Middle Eastern, Mexican, and Asian. Detroit is all this and more. Prepare to be delighted and surprised. We're currently driving through Oakland County and the northern suburbs of Detroit, which include the leafy, tree-lined streets of Farmington Hills, Rochester, Auburn Hills, Troy, and Royal Oak. Whether this is your first visit to Michigan or you've been here many times, we'd like to introduce you to places and facts about our beautiful state that you probably didn't know about. For one thing, Michigan is big, the 11th largest state, and it extends from where we are now, in southeast Michigan, clear up to the wild and rugged Upper Peninsula. In between are 20 million acres of national forests filled with trails for hiking, biking, and snowmobiling. One trail, known as the Iron Bell, stretches from Detroit to the far western tip of the Upper Peninsula, more than 1,000 miles. Michigan also has 11,000 inland lakes. That's right, 11,000 lakes. You're never far from water in Michigan, which is the only state that touches on 4 of the 5 Great Lakes: Huron, Erie, Superior, and of course, Lake Michigan. It's no surprise that this state ranks #1 in the country for boat registrations. But it may surprise you to know that one boat, the J.W. Westcott, is a floating post office that has served ships in the Detroit River since 1874. It even has its own zip code. Here are a few more notes about Michigan. You probably know that it's the home of the American automobile industry and the birthplace of Motown. But Michigan also has the cherry capital of the world, Traverse City, and the breakfast cereal capital, Battle Creek, home of Kellogg's. Vernors Ginger Ale is the country's oldest soda, or pop as we prefer to say in Michigan. Vernors was created by a Detroit pharmacist in 1866. Try it sometime as the locals like it, with vanilla ice cream. Delicious. Did you know that Detroit is famous for salt? Not only that, there's a gigantic salt mine 1,200 feet beneath the surface of Detroit that includes 100 miles of underground roads. Where does all this salt go? Well, a lot of it is used to melt ice on above-ground roads during Michigan's rather chilly winters. Do you see a giraffe up ahead on your left? Maybe not yet, but you're approaching the Detroit Zoo, one of the finest collections of wildlife in the world. It was the first zoo in America to create open exhibits that allow animals freedom to roam in natural habitats. The zoo contains more than 2,000 animals, from aardvarks to zebras, from polar bears to prairie dogs. One of the most popular exhibits is the Polk Penguin Conservation Center, where you can get an underwater, nose-to-beak look at penguins exploring their icy habitat. And that giraffe up there on your left, you might get a chance to feed him. Needless to say, the zoo is a hit with kids. Now that we've shared a few stories about Michigan, a state that has a town called Hell and another called Paradise, we hope you're feeling right at home. There are, though, a few ways to tell if you are a real Michigander. For one thing, you know that a local is called a Michigander. You might also know you're from Michigan if you considered pickled bologna, saltines, and Verner's a gourmet lunch. You're a Michigander if your kids' baseball games have ever been snowed out. You might be from Michigan if you've ever said, hey, it's only 5 below. If your idea of gathering food is to sit on a frozen lake and drill through 18 inches of ice, and then sit there all day hoping that the food will swim by, well, you might be a Michigander. Michigan is a very friendly place. If you've ever had a long conversation with someone who dialed a wrong number, you're probably from Michigan. If someone offers to help you in a store and you find out they don't work there, hey, welcome to Michigan. The beautiful Detroit skyline will soon come into view directly ahead of you. Downtown Detroit spreads along the banks of Lake St. Clair and the Detroit River. That riverside setting is exactly why a French soldier named Cadillac chose the site as a fort and fur trading settlement in 1701. Later, in 1805, Congress created the Michigan Territory and named Detroit as the capital. Its street plan was originally patterned to resemble the grand avenues of Washington, D.C., and some of those wide boulevards remain to this day. The riverfront today is the outdoor activity hub of Detroit. The Riverwalk has cafes, fine dining, fountains, and miles of paths for walking and biking. In the middle of the river is Belle Isle State Park, which you can reach by bridge. There you'll find more trails to hike or bike, plus a zoo and aquarium. What's on the other side of the river? That would be the city of Windsor, Ontario, in Canada. Yes, in Michigan, Canada lies to the north and south. The commercial heart of downtown Detroit is the Renaissance Center. The RenCen, as the locals call it, hosts concerts and events, and has great shopping and dining. The Detroit Marriott at the Renaissance Center is the tallest building in the city and the state. Before we reach the heart of downtown Detroit, we'll be passing through one of Detroit's most artistic and bustling neighborhoods, Midtown, home of the Detroit Institute of Arts, as well as several other museums, Wayne State University, and an array of new and classic cafes and lounges. We strongly recommend a visit to the Institute of Arts and Midtown. In a moment, we'll steer you to the museum and fill you in on some of the great places to see in Midtown. Just ahead is Woodward Avenue, where you'll have two choices. You can turn left to continue to downtown Detroit, or you can turn right for a 5-minute side trip to the beautiful Art Deco Fisher Building and the Fisher Theater, home of Broadway in Detroit. Again, left for downtown, right for the Fisher Building. Welcome to Midtown Detroit, a wonderful mix of old and new, trendy places to eat, and quirky places to shop. Here at the Detroit Institute of Arts, you can view one of America's greatest collections of art from all over the world, including a massive Diego Rivera mural that's a tribute to Detroit industry. The Institute's Kresge Court is a wonderful courtyard that serves as Midtown's unofficial cultural living room. Just ahead on your right is Little Caesars Arena, home of the Red Wings.
That bottle around the campfire, sipping apple pie moonshine. Yeah, we picking on them
Coming up on your right are the Fox Theater and the Fillmore, both great historic theaters that are today concert venues. On your left is Comerica Park, home of the Tigers. It's a lovely ballpark that was a key part of revitalizing this historic downtown district. Just beyond the park, out of sight on the left, is Ford Field, an indoor stadium that is home of the Detroit Lions. We're driving now through the historic heart of downtown Detroit. Most of the older buildings here date to the 1920s, so it's no surprise that you'll see some beautiful Art Deco details. On your right is the David Whitney, built in 1915. A $92 million restoration in 2014 returned it to its original grandeur. The hotel's lobby is fantastic. Just ahead on your left is the Guardian Building, another Art Deco masterpiece. Known as Detroit's Cathedral of Finance, it was built just in time for the stock market crash of 1929. You're approaching the end of the road where you should turn left on Jefferson Avenue to continue toward the Renaissance Center. After you turn, you can spot on your left a monument to the great boxer Joe Louis. You'll see a giant fist, and on your right will be Hart Plaza. On your right, you can see the towering presence of the Renaissance Center. The centerpiece is Detroit's tallest building, the 73-story Detroit Marriott. Follow the signs to any of the parking lots on the right, just past the center. We highly recommend parking here to explore the Renaissance Center's shops and restaurants. This is also the place to park and enjoy the Detroit Riverwalk. You can stroll in either direction along the Riverwalk. It spans about 3.5 miles. You can enjoy a riverside meal or coffee, go for a walk, run, or bike ride, or just sit and relax and watch the river flow. Facing the river, if you go right, you can walk down to Hart Plaza and explore its fantastic sculptures and fountains. If you go left, you'll reach a carousel, bike rentals, and Milliken State Park and Harbor, a great spot for a picnic. Farther along is the bridge to Belle Isle, the beautiful island park in the middle of the Detroit River. 20 years ago, the riverfront here was an unattractive hodgepodge of cement silos and abandoned warehouses. Its transformation was spurred by the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy, which pulled together foundations, corporations, governments, and the community to create this riverfront treasure. Its success typifies the resilience and resurgence of Detroit. Enjoy your time here at the Renaissance Center and Riverwalk. As we promised at the outset of this tour, Detroit will delight and surprise you. It may surprise you to learn that Detroit has 3 very popular casino resorts, the only non-Indian casinos in the state of Michigan. One of them is coming into view on the left. That shimmering blue tower is the Greektown Casino Hotel, in the heart of Detroit's historic Greektown neighborhood. We'll point out the others as we pass by them. Coming into view on your left is Ford Field, the all-weather domed stadium that is home of the Detroit Lions football team. The stadium seats 65,000 fans and hosts concerts, trade shows, and other events when the Lions aren't playing. Coming into view ahead and to your left is the Motor City Casino Hotel. Its sweeping roofline honors the legacy of Detroit's automotive industry. As we pass by the Motor City Casino, we also leave behind the heart of the Motor City itself. We hope you've enjoyed your Seren's Tour Guide to Detroit, with content from just ahead. It's been our pleasure to guide you through our fascinating city. Enjoy your stay in beautiful Michigan, and please come back to visit again.